You're good.
Hey, everybody. Happy Turkey Week. Chris is missing in action, something about being waterboarded or snorkeling or something like that. But he won't be with us this time. But we do have Bob Mitchie and Carl DePrado. And Bob, I believe you had an interesting story to talk about this week relating to
we got a really good story that came out last week. So multi-factor authentication again. With that, I had somebody call up and had a $1.2 million worth of credit card transactions show up in their merchant account overnight, and they're like, "Oh my God, we've been hacked. All my sites are, my computers are all in jeopardy." And well, you got to take a step back and figure out what actually happened. And initially, we reached out to the credit card processor. She got lucky on this one. She didn't have $1.2 million in her bank account, and two, the batch for the transactions got stopped. So there was 500 transactions. She normally does 3 transactions a week.
A little bit more activity.
What's that? Yeah,
a little more activity.
Plus it was a Black Friday sale coming on. But anyway, we go back and we work with her and we're looking at what happened and gathered up a whole bunch of logs, and ultimately we find out that this was a classic example of someone going to a lookalike website. So the user at this site at like 1:15 Googled the payment portal for the payment process they were looking for. They didn't have it saved, didn't have a bookmark or anything like that. Didn't type in the URL. They went to Google and said, okay, they put in the name of the merchant processor they use and clicked on the first link they saw that was a payment portal. It looked exactly the same. And it looked really good. She put the information in, didn't work, and it got invalid login. So she did it again. This time she Googled a different version of the company's name, got back to the same website. And then she's like, oh well, I guess it's not working. Let's order lunch. So she went and ordered lunch, got her lunch, came back and tried again. By then, the bad guys had already logged in and they had started their thing. Now, the funny thing is, this was a lookalike site, guys.
Yeah.
And I don't think she was the first one targeted. Well, she definitely wasn't targeted because it came in from Google. But within the next day, there were 500 transactions. And not just from one site, but from 64 sites. Think somebody had a playbook?
I think somebody was prepared to do bad things.
I think maybe a team of somebody's.
Yeah, and it was, it almost looked, based on what I saw, it looked like they had they definitely had an application ready to go, because we could see multiple logins, but we didn't see 65 different multiple logins. So it was actually some sort of bot that they had created to go and load fraudulent credit cards into her merchant services account and then issue refunds.
Wow. So what's the end goal? How are they profiting?
They were, I can only speculate. I'm going to guess that these guys were preloading cards that they wanted to go ahead and sell on the dark web.
Mm-hmm.
If I put $1,000 on a credit card, guarantee it, and then say I'm going to sell it for $100.
That's an interesting. I haven't even thought of that one.
Even about $500, you probably can sell those easily for $500 or $800.
So instead, now I'm selling credit cards that I know have value, versus selling a big list of credit cards. That's where I think that play is, because obviously credit cards are tracked, or maybe they were preloading gift cards.
Interesting.
I mean, if you can load a gift card, I guess if it gets lost, It's still not tracked to me. It's only tracked to that transaction.
Well, sounds like the vendor should probably work with Google to get that listing down.
But okay, so here's the thing. We talk about we've talked about PCI compliance. You see everything going on in PCI compliance. So PCI 4.0 is out right now. Why aren't they enforcing MFA?
Yeah. Back to basics.
Granted, once they got a login session, it doesn't look like MFA would have made a difference in this, but they would have never got that login session if they had MFA.
Right. They wouldn't have gotten into the kingdom with the keys in the first place.
Actually, I take that back.
They could have. Yeah, they could have passed.
They could have got in, but yeah.
Harder, but yeah. So this really comes down to user.
In this case, the potential loss, she did lose. The business did lose about 1 day's worth of test transactions that the bad guys put in, because the first day they put in 6, and then they put in over 500.
Wow. Just to see if it was noticed or if it was running, I guess.
And the minute she saw she saw the 500 transactions, she contacted them. They stopped the batch. She also canceled that bank account that it was connected to, just in case.
Yeah. Wise move. The sad part is that these guys who are doing this are also they're stress testing the system as well. Figure out how many transactions before something triggers. So they go 5 or 6, and then they go to 500 to see if they can ramp up. And guarantee you the next victim they're going to go down to 200 and figure out what the sweet spot is, how many they can hit in.
So one of the weird things on this, one of the weirder things was I had to specifically ask for access logs. They had an audit capability inside her portal, but it wouldn't say where the connections were coming from. And they're like, "Oh, I don't know if we can get that." I said, "Well, you got to find it.
Better be able to get that like that."
Yeah, I mean, that's critical stuff.
Once we saw that, the log said, "Oh, it didn't come from us." So there's still fallout because our merchant services account was used on other stuff, but it's being worked on. And now that one's cleaned up, she's got to start all over with a new merchant services account. And actually, this was an account that had been sitting there for over 10 years from a merchant perspective. So she might even be getting better rates now that she moves. But because she called the number she had a physical terminal in there. She called the number. It's like the company doesn't exist anymore.
Wow.
So, anyway, like I said, the good thing here,
not surprising.
Assess the risk, know where your stuff is, and turn MFA on.
Seriously. I might know of a certain merchant processor that didn't offer MFA until a year ago, and the only MFA they offer is an email verification. So frankly, some of these companies aren't really putting in the work they should be.
They talk a good game.
They talk a good game. They sell well, but they open us all up to a whole lot of issues.
Yeah,
I saw the same thing with a big payroll company.
ADP. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I had this terrible cough.
You sneezed, Matt.
Yep.
I understand. We keep those things secret. DP.
When I talked to them about that, they were like, "Oh, well, we do extra verification when we're giving out credit, when we're giving out social security numbers." I was like, "Okay, let me go run a report."
Yeah, it's an absolute lie. And they do have different portals for different programs you might be on, and the newer ones are much better, but they really need to catch up with 2010, frankly, let alone 2024, almost 2025.
2005.
So anyway, it's Turkey Day is coming up. Let's make sure that that everyone takes the time to go turn on MFA if you can, and change.
Well, your turkey's cooking.
Yeah, because after all, 'tis the season for holiday scams.
It really is.
There you go.
Yeah. And speaking of that, this all started with searching on Google and ending up on the wrong website. So that might be a good time to point out, if you're shopping, be real careful. I mean, Google results are not always verified. You want to be on the right website placing an order.
A lot of times it's the ads that are circling up.
Yep.
On the top.
Yep.
And all the scam emails for Black Friday. You know, here's we can get you an extra 50% off at Best Buy if you click here.
But you have to give me your merchant account password first.
There you go.
Did they resolve the Cyrillic A's from happening inside of the domain registration? You guys know what that is?
No.
I'm going to share my screen. So you guys. So, oh, that's not the one. Let me go to visit. I visit.
Yeah, well, special characters are
special. Well, the Cyrillic A
are allowed.
Oh, it's not showing up. Technology. Never ask a guy who. The Cyrillic A looks almost identical to the English A.
Yep.
And can be used and loaded into a domain. So you can have Bank of America with the Cyrillic A in there, and it look, on first glance, it's going to look really good. Except it's just basically the A with a little squiggle on top is a Cyrillic one, as opposed to the regular, the A without that. And problem is, people are redirected pretty quickly on that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, because all the special characters with for foreign countries, they support them everywhere. So when things are close, it's hard.
Another rule is we always have is if somebody says click our link on an email or a text message, don't do that. Even if the address looks good,
go type it.
Type it.
Anyway, gentlemen, next week we will have Chris back, and we'll have more comedy, I guess.
We'll have Chris for Christmas.
Oh, I see what you
did there. Thank you.
So did you hear that he got stuck and he had one of my travel days getting there?
I did not.
Where did he get stuck in?
He got stuck in Atlanta for 24 hours.
Oh, on the way to Paradise. That is rough.
Oh, jeez. So Chris was having a planes, trains, and automobile moment.
Yeah, it turns out the destination he was going to only has one flight a day from any airline. So even trying to rebook to another airline, it was +1 on a day.
I hate to say it's a first world problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he had some. I think he said there was ice when he was taking off, and it delayed his connecting flight. So him and Angie got to enjoy Atlanta. Anyway, happy Turkey Day, and we will talk to everyone next week.
With the stuffing.
All right.